Whew. Hey YouTube, and again a special hello to everyone from the Utah Filmmakers and Actors group on Facebook. I wanted to do a little video talking about sound design. I'm not an expert, I'm not necessarily a sound engineer, although I have had to do that role for my projects. I do my own editing and stuff like that, and even recording. I've had to record a few sound effects for things, which I'll talk about in a bit. I wanted to do a little video because there's two things that I realized about sound design that I thought were really cool. And the first big important one is, so I'm working on an animation. The short name is Pulling Leg. That's people on YouTube, you'll find out the full name soon enough when the animation releases. I'm getting close to done with that. And there's a part where I can't say exactly what happens, but I'm going to give an alternate story that has a pretty similar event happening. So in the alternate story, one character is like, I want this tree to be somewhere else. So he takes the tree, pulls it up, and he just sticks it into his pocket. The tree shrinks down into his pocket, right? And so I don't have all of the story building to play that off as a 100% serious thing in the way that the audience would watch that and go, So in their universe, certain people have the ability to just pick up trees and shrink them down and put them in their pocket and then expand them again and plant them somewhere else. So I don't have all the story building to make that suspension of disbelief seem like a realistic thing. They're going to be like, oh, haha, that's a funny way of explaining or showing a real life event, which is true. That's what my animation at its core actually is. So, if I was being serious, he'd have to get like a backhoe and all this other stuff, and he would have to dig up the tree carefully and capture all the roots and plant it over, and that's not what my animation is about. It is an actual funny telling of something that could kind of happens in real life. But so I want to have the character take it as serious, and I want to play it as serious as possible. And so I don't necessarily want the slide whistle sound, which we've been conditioned to see and think of that as, for cartoon and stuff and animation in certain movies and films, normal, because it started a long time ago when someone decided to use that. I don't know who, but someone decided to use the slide whistle sound for like expanding or shrinking, and it's kind of stuck with us. We're predisposed to think that's a normal sound for that because of whatever sound engineer it was years ago that did that. So cool, right? I don't want that. I want something else. I want it to be played as serious as possible. How do I? Oh, wait. At its core, just picking up the tree and sticking it into the pocket is funny. So it almost doesn't matter what sound effect I had with it. Even if I had no sound effects, it would still be taken as funny, comical. Oh, haha, look, that's funny. Honestly, it almost doesn't matter. I mean, I have to have the right sound effect if I do have a sound effect. I have to have something that seems to fit and isn't, it has to sound right. It can't be too off in one direction. And yeah, I can have sounds that make it more funny or comical. Like the slide whistle sound is more comical, but I'm thinking of what other sounds I could put. And as I came up with that thought, and I emailed it to someone who's probably going to be a voice actor in my project and is also helping me a little bit with this one sound for suggestions, I thought, what about the sound of like a straw expanding or collapsing? And so I might have that in there. And as I was working out my thoughts before clicking record for this video, I'm like, and he takes it, puts it in his pocket, pulls it out. Oh, like the sound of collapsing or expanding a selfie stick or a tripod leg or something. Maybe that. Or I've even been thinking, what do molecules sound like when they're expanding and growing? What does that sound like? Things like that. And this is one thing that is at the essence of every sound design engineer. They have to think of what something will sound like or should and make it sound like that, especially for things that aren't real, because most of my stuff has been live action, and so I have had to have way more sound effects for this project because it's animation. There literally is no sound. And it's been a really cool process for me to hunt and dig for these sound effects. I've done that before on Freesound. In fact, I'm gonna like take a little break and I don't know, go stream some Minecraft or something on my channel because I've been staring at yellow and green waveforms and listening to almost every single sound of a squirrel and a swoosh and all this stuff on there for so long that I'm getting a little tired of it and I need a break of that. It's been rewarding. It's been cool to see the sound effects come together, but I've had to put more sound effects in than usual because most of my projects, it's like I was just recording with my camera and I used the camera audio. And if you think that the sound of something didn't sound realistic, well, there's a really high chance that that's the actual sound of that thing. It literally made that sound in real life and was picked up by my camera or my microphone. Live with it. Since I've done some live action stuff, there are things that didn't have sounds, like the green airborne death virus from my film Airborne Death had some basic explosion sounds, and you saw the air poofing around with green smoke in it. And so there are some things that didn't have sound in real life, but a lot of stuff you can just figure out what it is and guess, or just go record that. Like, there's a part where one of my characters was walking across some dirt. So I grabbed my DIY boom pole and I put on my headphones and I stuck it towards my feet and I walked across some dirt, trying to keep the same pace as the character in my animation. Stuff like that is very simple and easy. You just go record the actual thing. But there's a lot of stuff that doesn't have a sound that they have to make up sounds for. And this is where I can tie in the shirt I just randomly happen to be wearing today. Um, it's a thing where, like, for Star Trek, like, there's no transporters. They had to make a sound for that. They had to make a sound, like the little chirping sounds of the communicator devices. Someone had to come up with what they think these things sound like. And for me, working on my animation pulling leg, I've had to do that for the tree going in the pocket. I'm doing that right now. And so then this got me thinking too as well, coming up with it. Sometimes you just make something randomly off the top of your head, but I've realized, what does it sound like? Or what things sound similar? Because I realized, like, I was looking for the sound of a squirrel running through the grass, but I didn't have that sound, but I could hear it in my head. I'm pretty sure what I'm hearing, though, is either, if it's not from a cartoon or a movie, it's something made up, because I've realized what that would sound like is kind of like me running through the grass, but lighter. So I went, and there's actually a live stream about this one. I ran my hands through the grass to imitate what I think the squirrel would sound like in my animation, and it's turned out pretty good, and that'll be going on my freesound.org profile. And so then thinking about the tree shrinking, going forward, when I start to try and find a sound for this, I'm going to think not just the straw, but I've got my selfie stick collapsing. What other shrinking, expanding sounds are there? Can I find or make a sound of, like, shrink wrap or something being pulled or stretched over something, or shrinking? Or, that's, yeah, like rubbery sounds now. All kinds of stuff are starting to file into my mind for what this could sound like. I can have, a balloon stretching or shrinking, or latex gloves, or... So basically, the final point that I'll say here is find things in real life that are doing something similar, because there is actually no real sound of a tree shrinking at all. There is it's not real. So what other things do expand and shrink that might be fitting for that sound is kind of the take that I'm going for. So basically, realize what kind of medium you're working with, and that, well, it is important to have good sounds. You might be working with something where it almost doesn't matter what sound you're going to have, it's going to be played out as whatever it is. Like I said, if it's kind of comical, silly to its core, you're kind of going to be stuck with that. And the sound effects that you put to it can only magnify that, but they probably can't make it less. I could be wrong, but that's the thought I had for my specific scenario. And when you're recording stuff, if you can't find something, go record it yourself. I'm not the expert in that, but think about things that might sound similar to what it is, things that look like whatever it is, and go from there. Hopefully this is insightful to some people, and gives you some really cool ideas. And if there are any sound engineers out there that want to talk sound, I'm already talking with one on this project because he's submitting voiceover for it, but I'd be interested in doing that. Maybe we can go record something someday, because it's actually really, really fun and rewarding. And I really encourage you guys, go watch my video, Grassy Thud, the sound that has been downloaded almost 2,000 times, because that's like a really cool video on this. And pretty much it. Go support me on Patreon, patreon.com/coachholes101, because I want to do more film stuff. but I recognize that some people are struggling and don't necessarily have money to donate. So the final note I'll leave you with is I have another video you can check out that talks about different ways that you can help me if you can't just go straight to Patreon and donate. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to working with more people in the Utah filmmakers and actors community. It's going to be fun and exciting, and we'll see where this goes. I'll see you guys in whatever's next. Bye.